The placebo effect, of course, is very real, and doctors know about it. But did you know that the placebo effect works even if the patient is told it's a placebo?
Yes.
I mean, that I don't get.
YOLO. Every now and then we see not just a fighter, but a person break the narrative of what we think we know. Instantly, we try to reason it. We try to come up with justifications as to why it may be. When we see magic in plain sight, some of us are lifted to see magic in ourselves. Others, they shun it. They criticize it under the simple context of coincidences, but the truth remains, every time we've invited that feeling, we've seen it ourselves. Every time we chose to trust it, we ourselves were more inclined to reinforce outcomes favoring that belief, but always under one condition. We dedicated tangible, physical work to that direction. That said, what is this magic I'm talking of? Science would refer to it as the placebo effect. The ancients, they would call it the astral light. In essence, they are both the same thing, with one truth remaining. We only brand it magic because we don't really understand it. Our understanding of the universe, or maybe even our human mind, has not evolved to a point where it currently can fully understand it. An example of this could be Jared Cannonier talking about crystals giving him healing abilities. To most of us, this is very strange, including me. I've never sought magic from rocks, but as someone who tries to think from the practical standpoint of what consistently works, I must recognize that a strange phenomenon occurs for those who actually believe in such things. Why? Because the act of believing they do reinforces outcomes that further reinforce a higher probability of that outcome. Maybe there is something to Michael Phelps cupping his back, if not the cupping itself. With that said, you're beginning to get a feel for the magic we all possess. One currently not explainable, but nonetheless consistently effective. You give a plain man a plain mask. The two independent of each other does nothing, but the two combined can have him worshipped as a deity as he dances for his people. Independent of each other, there is no magic. But the moment it touches his face, genuinely he feels as though he is possessed by the spirit of something, that something has taken him over. And the response he receives from all who bear witness is very visceral. You can already see how this power can be abused, but when you acknowledge it, you can see it everywhere. We all do it one way or another. The time you just felt good in a new pair of shoes, or that suit that made you feel like $1,000,000. It had little to do with the suit, didn't it? It was the swagger, how you felt about that suit, which was what made it magic. Even in the names and titles we call ourselves, it does not have to be a physical object, just a way of channeling that feeling. Iron Man, Rotang Chikmanon. How do you believe this man fights? He has a knack for walking down his opponents. Never one to play off the back foot, but to always come forward. Naturally, with such a relentless, aggressive style, he's bound to get caught running into something, but that's where his magic comes into play. He responds as if he's made of iron, as if he invites you to hit him. He dares you to trade, to fight him in the pocket. Undefeated at 1FC, even I thought their notion of playing Muay Thai with MMA gloves would work to this man's advantage, but even then, he still responds as if he's made of iron. still walks his opponents down and crushes them, he still has retained his undefeated status with this reckless, high-pressure style, under the belief that truly he is made of iron. This, of course, would not be possible without his rigorous training, his conditioning. Perhaps there is a genetic component as well, but believing he is made of iron, reacting to strikes as if he's made of iron, walking down and crushing his opposition as if he's made of iron. That contract between the physical work he puts in and his belief in this narrative brings into fruition more consistent outcomes that reinforce this narrative. It's magic in plain sight. And whenever we see it, the reaction from the general public is always polarized. With that said, this brings into light a glint of magic we all possess, but it tells a story much darker as well. How many times have we self-sabotaged ourselves believing negative narratives? How many times have we lived self-fulfilling prophecies in this realm, this universe? It is so much easier to be negative. As beautiful as it may be, the prerequisite, the payment we must all pay, is always pain. Thus, there is always a justification for negativity around every corner. But falling for that trap, falling for the illusion that we are merely leaves blown about by circumstance, how many times has that actually come true? Your belief in that fixed outcome is reinforcing it, isn't it? Whether it be the placebo effect or the astral light, whatever you believe, it forges a contract that further reinforces those outcomes. To that end, I implore you to reflect on the beliefs governing your inner world, because when you understand this, you know the masters were right. They said the outside world is a mirror of your inside world. Until next time, peace.